Alright, Winter Soldier, definitely S tier. If you guys don't already know, if you have shot no matter how many bullets, if you use an ability, he automatically reloads, so hopefully that will help somebody. Um, but super strong. I mean, good at pretty much any range, very nice abilities, and being able to hook people as well is super nice, especially squishies. And his ult is arguably the best in the game, being able to almost have unlimited ult basically, as long as you either kill somebody with your ult or get them down low enough, you just instantly regain it. And even if not, you have a very short window to drop them down to their next health bar to be able to regenerate the ult again automatically and just re-go. But yeah, Winter Soldier is definitely a super strong pick no matter what. Jeff is also S tier. This dude has arguably, again, the best ult in the game. Definitely the funniest for sure. Super annoying, super hard to kill, has insane healing, not only with his normal healing spraying of the water, but also the healing bubbles as well. Damage-wise, he's a little lacking, but honestly, with how much healing you can dish out, it just kind of doesn't really matter. Jeff is just too good at healing, as well as survivability, with being able to essentially just go under the map almost and be super difficult to kill at any given point. So super strong support carry there, which honestly this game is super carried by supports right now. Um, but there's going to be a lot of changes, I'm sure, with the actual patch that comes. Let's see, Venom. I'm going to put Venom in S tier as well. I think having a tank that can move as well as he does and how hard he is to kill. Yes, you can CC him. Yes, you can kind of, you know, slow him down a little bit, but just how much health he normally has on top of being able to essentially shield himself and having so much movement. And while he's pretty melee heavy and almost only melee heavy for the most part, he does have a tiny bit of range, but it's still super melee carry. It doesn't matter just because he can swing right onto you and slam you with the swing as well. So yeah, Venom is exactly what you would want in a tank, except he's super mobile on top of that. So definitely a super strong tank there. Adam Warlock, damn, we're just going straight S tiers for now. Adam Warlock has just such good healing. Not only being able to heal his allies with multiple things, but also being able to heal himself at the same time. He does decent damage. It's not, you know, anything fantastic, but it's definitely okay for, you know, focus healer for sure. And his ult is arguably one of the best in the game as well, which, you know, Venom's ult is a little lacking, I think. It's just super damaging, but nothing crazy. Adam Warlock has the Mercy Res, which we're going to reference Overwatch a whole lot in this video, but trying to make it as quick but informative as possible as to why I'm putting everybody where. But yeah, his Mercy Res can definitely change the game, as well as if he does die at any point, he can just resurrect himself anywhere that he wants on the map. So, you know, if you're like first to die, you can just go and cocoon yourself and resurrect yourself at any point, which is pretty fucking crazy. So super strong, super strong. Let's see. We're going to put Wolverine down here in C. Switch it up a little bit. Yeah, Wolverine is arguably the worst in the game right now. And I'm a Wolverine fan. He's my favorite superhero for sure. But he is just not good. He just doesn't do enough damage. He is a pretty good tank buster for sure, just because obviously the more damage he does, the more damage he does, if that makes sense. But yeah, his abilities are a little bit too hard to hit with the leap tackle thing, and the ultimate is honestly not super great unless you're like ulting on a squishy, and even then most of them have you mobility or, you know, CC or something to kind of stop you. Yeah, he just, unfortunately, he is not as good as everybody would want him to be. Again, he's okay at, you know, killing tanks because he's, you know, can just continuously do more and more damage to them, but at the same time, he's not too difficult to kill. He does have a little bit of regeneration, obviously, and he can leap in and out, but it's definitely not as like a mobile leap as like Spider-Man or Black Panther or, somebody of that nature. Back to S tier's Mantis. Super insane. I mean, just an insane amount of healing, an insane amount of damage you can dish out as well. Being able to sleep anybody that jumps on her is super easy. Is at the same time, her ult is pretty good. It's basically kind of like a very dumbed down Zenyatta ult. That doesn't last as long, but it's still very strong. But yeah, Mantis, as far as damage and healing together is pretty unmatched in the support category. I don't know anybody that can keep up on both as much as her. And again, on top of that, being able to even damage boost herself and her allies as well is huge utility in general. And then again, being able to sleep somebody is, there's nothing she can't do. Let's just put it that way. Nothing she can't do. And honestly, for me, Magneto's S tier. This dude is super, super difficult to kill if played right. I mean, he's got so much defensive ability, having 650 health naturally, having a barrier Reinhardt shield, essentially being able to hold out for a few seconds, having a bubble shield you can pop around yourself for a few seconds as well as super, super good survivability all there. He does definitely lack in damage for sure. But it's okay. I mean, it's on the lower end of tank damage for sure. And his ult definitely lacks. It's not very great. It doesn't really do a whole lot of. It doesn't do as much damage as you feel like it should. At least that's my opinion for sure. But at the same time, it's pretty easy to move away from. Um, and then also being able to shield an ally. So you got somebody's diving your support, being able to shield them is huge, especially doing that as from a tank perspective as well. So survivability on all aspects here with Magneto. It's super difficult to kill if played right and has a healer on top of him as well. Killing wise, not so much, but can't necessarily do everything. Who do we got? Black Widow, I'm gonna put in B. I think she good. She can. I think she good. I think she can do a lot of damage if kind of just uncontested. She's okay if you get the drop on her. Like she has some survivability and has a little bit of movement, but nothing crazy. But she definitely can do a lot of damage. Like just being able to kind of sit back if everybody's busy, she can definitely piece some people up and finish some people off. But honestly, she's pretty easy to dive. She's not super difficult to kill. And even if she's hitting her shots very well, she's more than likely not gonna be able to just fully destroy you unless she's super accurate. So more than likely you can just drop on her, but she's still good. She's still fun. Yeah, I like Black Widow. There's a whole lot better picks and people with more survivability and more consistent damage output. Let's see. Rocket Raccoon. Rocket Raccoon is difficult. It's somewhere between A and B. I think I'm gonna have to put him in A. So Rocket is definitely what you would think of as a support character as far as how much healing he can put out. Like his healing is very, very strong. And his survivability is very, very good too. He's very hard to kill because he has a lot of jetpack boosts. The only thing with him is his damage is okay. I mean, again, support character, like you're not necessarily looking for a high amount of damage as he's not necessarily going to do it, but his healing is very, very good. But his utility as far as armor packs and his ultimate is just not strong. Neither of those things are both of those things are the worst part of his kit, and unfortunately, that's like two of the few things that are there, and it's just he could definitely go down to B. I just think he kind of deserves an A because he does his job well. He survives as a support and he deals out a ton of healing and can do okay damage, like helpful enough damage to do something worthwhile. But other than that, not useful. Punisher, basically, let's just say he's Soldier 76. I mean, whole lot of damage with his rifle. His turret is, you definitely have to watch what you're doing with it, but can definitely deal out some damage there. The smoke is not so great. Being able to switch to shotgun, I think honestly takes a little bit too long, but that can be useful as well if you're in a tight spot. Um, and then his ult honestly is super strong as well, does a whole lot of damage, can definitely help turn the fight. So yeah, nothing bad to say about Punisher. He does have a little bit of mobility with the grapple hook, so there's that, but I definitely think that's where he lacks, is a little bit of mobility for sure. But if you're dealing out as much damage as he is against anybody, like you're probably gonna make them want to get out of the fight more than yourself. Um, but yeah. Star-Lord I'll put into A. I think he has super high damage output. His ult is basically Soldier 76's ult, but better, which is insane. Um, but at the same time, he's pretty squishy, and if you do stun him or slow him down at all, he's pretty easy to kill. But he can definitely deal out a whole lot of damage. He's a little bit difficult to kill because of mobility, but um, yeah, I definitely don't think he deserves an S, but I can't really put him in B either because I think he's better than Black Widow and can definitely do more, especially with his ult, than Black Widow can for sure. Oh, let's see. Who do we got? Who do we got? Groot. Honestly, Groot and Hulk are both gonna put in C. I just, yeah, there's just so many better tanks than both of them. Groot just literally puts up walls. He doesn't do any damage. Um, yeah, he just like there's just really nothing great to say about him other than a little bit of survivability as a tank for sure, which is obviously what you want, but yeah, having two of your abilities both be walls is just pretty annoying. Now Hulk, definitely better than Groot. Maybe Hulk goes into B, just because he's essentially D.Va and has multiple lives between the Bruce Banner self doing the little D.Va pistol and then getting back into Hulk. Um, but yeah, he's a little bit too melee heavy. I honestly, yeah, I don't think I can put him in B. He just, he's not really an issue. Like, he's not hard to kill. He doesn't do enough damage. He has a lot of lives, sure, but as soon as he's in or out of the other phase of Hulk being a man Bruce Banner, he's obviously squishy as hell, so not good. Um, Thor, I'm gonna put into B. I think yeah, there's still just so many better tanks to choose from than Thor, and he's just a little bit way too melee heavy. He is pretty difficult to kill with his shielding and stuff. He definitely can survive, and if you're on the right map, which I guess I should have started this video with this. If you're still here, obviously any of these heroes can be S tier. You know, if they have the right team comp, right player, and all of that, and they can be D tier with the same thing. You know, it's all still up in the air for sure, depending on team comp, map, game mode, and all of that. But for the most part, this is what I've seen from pro players, from pro player tier lists, from my experience, my playing, and everything. That Thor is just kind of on the lower end for sure. Um, just doesn't really do enough. His ult is pretty good, but yeah, just again, there's just better tanks to choose from, in my opinion, than choosing Thor. Um, Speaking of tanks, I'm going to put Cap and Doctor Strange up in A. I think they're both pretty good. They both have very strong overall kits. I just don't think they have that umph into S tier, but they're pretty good in my opinion. I think Cap is okay. He's pretty good at surviving. He has a decent kit, decent mobility for a tank as well, and pretty fun to use. Doctor Strange, a little bit better, I would say, than Cap. A lot more tankiness and survivability with the shield and everything like that. Um, but yeah, for me, neither of them just have that like factor to get into S tier. Loki. Loki's just bad, man. I don't know if anybody likes Loki. You're just wrong. Like, yeah, he just doesn't do any damage. He honestly does not do good healing either, unless you're basically all sitting on the point or the payload or whatever. But other than that, it's just, yeah, Loki's just not good. And honestly, his ultimate is fucking stupid. It's just an Echo ult from Overwatch. Like, that's something I never really liked, but it's essentially the exact same thing, which I think is dumb. So yeah, I don't really have anything good to say about Loki. He's very, like, he's not even mid. Like, he's just very okay. Um, Super situational, and even so, like, I would take any other I would literally probably take any other healer than him in any other situation. Yeah, I actually would. Yeah, I think Loki is the worst healer in the game for sure. Let's see, Hawkeye, I'm definitely put minimum A. Honestly, you could maybe put him in S, but his mobility is definitely lacking. If you can get the drop on him, honestly, he can still kill you because he does so much damage and he has a very good kit, and his ult is honestly super strong, especially if you're, got a couple of squishy targets around you or even a tank that you need to really burst down. But yeah, his mobility is lacking. But if you can sit back there and ding people up, man, you're gonna do a shit ton of damage. Like, he feels very good to use. Like, definitely feels better than Hanzo in my opinion, as far as like damage and hits and everything. You don't need to essentially hit headshots to kill people with Hawkeye, is how I feel. Compared to Hanzo, like, you're gonna have to hit multiple shots against tanks, and Hawkeye, as long as you have that pulled back long enough, then you're gonna do some pretty good damage. Definitely nothing really bad to say about him, again, aside from just having a lack of mobility. But still not the easiest to kill because of his damage output. Psylocke, I'll probably put Psylocke in S. Yeah, just being able to do as much damage as she does. Her ultimate is super good. She has very good mobility, having 2 dashes. So yeah, just there's literally nothing bad to say about her. She's exactly what you want in a flanking duelist, essentially. Like, I mean, she's gonna go in, do a lot of damage, and be able to go out. Even if she doesn't kill you, she definitely essentially won the fight, even if she didn't kill you. Um, Spider-Man. I gotta put Spider-Man in B. Um, yeah, he's just too squishy, and honestly doesn't do enough damage. He just kind of, his mobility is unmatched. Like, he has the best mobility in the game by far, um, but he's definitely just kind of the tracer of this game. You come in, can you kill somebody? Yeah, but it's honestly going to be a little bit of a struggle unless you really hit your shots and they don't do much or have enough time to react to your shots. Um, and then you got to get out because you're solo. And if more than one person is attacking you, like, you're basically gonna just get fucked up. His ultimate is really good, so you can definitely just spawn yourself on top of a group and fuck them up really well like that. But aside from that, he's just, yeah, he's way too inconsistent. Um, and again, any of these characters can be S tier or D tier depending on team, player, game mode, map, all that shit. But overall, he's definitely pretty mid. Yeah, I don't even know if I would want him to have a damage boost, because then I feel like he's going to be insanely, he's going to be a big problem, but it is what it is. Iron Man, just not good. There is just way too many people. Honestly, pretty much anybody in the game can just take him out. Maybe not anybody, but like Winter Soldier can hit you. Jeff can even hit you. Adam War, like, all these people can hit you, especially some of the higher people. Most of the tanks can hit you for the most part. All of these guys can, like, there's way more people that cannot hit you. I'm sorry, there's way more people that can hit you than cannot. Even the melee fighters have an ability to get up to you and fuck you up. And overall, your damage output is way too inconsistent. He's basically Pharah. Like, and there's no mercy in this game, so pharmacy doesn't work, Like, it's just, he doesn't work super well. I think he's just too easy to deal with. I do like him, like, he's definitely decent for splash damage. He definitely has a decent kit. His ultimate is mediocre, but can be okay, but pretty easy to, get away from. But he's just way too easy to kill. I mean, if you look at literally everybody that's already on the list, 90% of the people in this game can directly just counter Iron Man, unfortunately. Um, but it is what it is. I don't think anybody's going to be in D tier, but he's definitely not B. At the absolute most, he's in B, but definitely not above. Hela can do hella damage, lol, but honestly, she just has never felt good to me. I don't honestly, I see her sometimes, but honestly, she's never felt like a huge problem. Um, and when I have played her, it's kind of the same thing. Like, I just feel like I don't do enough. I mean, I have some survivability as far as movement, but like it's one dash, one fly, I should say. She can get into some nice spots with the flying for sure. Her ultimate is okay. Her kit isn't that bad. It's just, yeah, you just don't feel like you're doing enough. I feel like there is just better picks to do more consistent damage than Hela. I can definitely understand that you put her in S because she can do hella damage. And she definitely does not deserve to go down in B for sure, but I think I gotta split the difference and keep her in A, at least for now. Oh, let's see. Penny Parker. Penny Parker just gets destroyed. Like, she has never been a problem. Like, yeah, I don't know what it is about her, whether it's her kit or her damage output or lack of survivability. I don't know what it is, but she is just bad. Um, she's honestly probably the worst tank in the game. Um, yeah, I would say that. Her ultimate actually isn't too terrible, but again, you can literally just move away from her. Like, she is not hard to deal with at all. Like, when you see Penny Parker as a tank, you're not worried. When you see a Venom swinging around and being hard to kill, or somebody like that, like that's way more worrisome than a Penny Parker walking around shooting at you. Like, she doesn't do any damage. She honestly doesn't tank well, and her ult is easy to move away from. Like, there's pretty much no upside to her, honestly. Except for maybe team up, but then again, you're teaming up with Spider-Man, so that's not really a great team up because Spider-Man is. I'm not saying he's a bad choice, but there are better ones. Storm, I'm gonna put in B. I think Storm is honestly a little bit slept on and underrated. I think she has insane. I feel like she's one of those where it's a mix of they could not figure out whether she's supposed to be support or duelist, because half of her kit is literally just utility for her team. Her ultimate is fantastic. It does a fuck ton of damage. Can easily kill multiple people, no problem. Um, Super strong there. But other than that, she doesn't do an insane amount of damage. She's basically just, yeah, super good team utility and decent damage. She's not very hard to kill because she just floats around and it floats very slow and you can't do anything about it. But I honestly would even put her in A. Like, I feel like she's actually pretty decent, and slept on is just, yeah, she's not super hard to kill. She doesn't do a whole lot of damage. She's just like a crazy duelist with that has a shit ton of team utility with an amazing ult. So it's kind of hard to place her just because she feels a little sloppy, I guess. Cloak and Dagger, I'm gonna put into A. I would almost put them into S, but the lack of mobility is insane. Like, there is just no mobility in Cloak and Dagger. Even with the switching, you're not switching. It doesn't do a whole lot. The amount of healing and damage you can do, though, is insane. They feel very, very good. They feel very strong. Um, but again, the mobility is just not there. Um, the ult is very nice as well, but again, other than that, like the only thing that's bad is the lack of mobility. Everything else is insane. Now, I guess if you would add a mobility aspect, then they would probably be super OP because of all of the other things. I understand, but yeah, that's definitely why they are not in S tier. Definitely don't deserve to be in B tier either, but A tier is very, very strong there for them. Oh, let's see. A lot of the rest of these are just scary. Iron Fist, I gotta put in B. I mean, he's just not that great. He's not super hard to deal with, super hard to kill. He can definitely swarm you, especially if you're a support, and kill you. And with his ult, and he does have a regeneration, so he can keep himself alive pretty well. But honestly, he needs to have that because he's so easy to damage and can't do much about anything. Um, so yeah, I can't really put him higher than a B. I've never seen or faced Iron Fist that I'm worried about. Um, Even some high level players that have tried to play him, like they do well, sure, but you have to. So much has to go right for him to do well, let's put it like that. And it's very easy to go wrong. Scarlet Witch. Honestly, I think Scarlet Witch is an A. I think the biggest reason why is her ult. But honestly, she does everything decent. I like, you can definitely put her in B. She's definitely not an S, but honestly, you just like, there's nothing bad about her. Like, she has good mobility to get, or survivability, I should say. She does decent damage. Her ult is good. There's nothing really bad to say about her, but she definitely doesn't have that like it factor to get into S, because she doesn't do like an insane amount of damage. She's kind of like that Moira or Symmetra, like firing as far as like just attaching to you, and like you know it's doing damage and it'll eventually get you, but you're not like super stressed or worried about it, and you can definitely fuck her up faster, more than likely. Um, but she's got survivability, she's got a very good ult, so she definitely deserves to be um, in a decent tier for sure. Luna Snow. Honestly, she's difficult. Definitely deserves an A, might go into S. Um, I gotta put her in A. I just, and that's definitely, she probably deserves an S for sure, but that's definitely my bias and how I feel about her. I don't like her. I don't like her on my team. Facing her, I don't really have a problem because I think she's a little overrated. That's my opinion about her, but she is definitely good. She just, yeah, I'm sure everybody puts her in S, but honestly, she's never felt like an S tier champ. At least, even from what I've seen, she, you know, I probably have double the amount of watch time that I do play time. Maybe not, but it's, yeah, I don't feel like she's S tier. Definitely deserves A for sure, absolutely, but S is Moon Knight. Moon Knight is difficult. He can definitely dish out a good amount of damage. His kit is good. His ult is decent. But honestly, he's not very. I'll give him an A, but he's just not very hard to deal with or kill. Um, his kit is super fun. He's super fun to play, but he's just not very difficult to deal with. His ult again is decent. But yeah, I think he just kind of lacks that like it factor to really push him to the next level. Um, but that's just how I feel. Squirrel Girl. I gotta put her in C. I think, yeah, she doesn't do anything, man. She is a worse Junkrat. And I love Junkrat, but somehow she's just a pretty bad one. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Her kit is not that great. Her ult is not that great. Like, I just don't really have anything good to say about her. be okay, especially if she hits her shots, but I feel like her shots are just so weird and they don't hit well enough for being a duelist. Like, I feel like, you know, okay, if you think about, she's basically supposed to be this game's Junkrat, and Junkrat feels like when you hit a Junkrat ball on somebody, you feel like you're doing a fuck ton of damage. Like, you're gonna two-shot anybody that's not a tank for the most part, and any tank, you know, you shoot a couple things or concussion mine them or whatever, like, they're fucked up. And with her, it does not feel anywhere close to that. Namor? See, this is the problem. I feel like Namor is one of those champs that nobody right now is playing, that you see very little of, that you have very little video footage of as well, but is probably pretty underrated and is gonna just explode, especially with some buffs. I am gonna put him in B. I have seen him. I think he's a little bit annoying, but he definitely needs buffs for sure. Yeah, I can't even do it. Just the lack of everybody, like nobody's playing this guy. He doesn't do enough. His sentries suck. His damage is okay. His ult is okay. Like he just needs some buffs. But I do think that when he is buffed, he's going to be a problem. I do think everything is there. He just feels like Symmetra in the beginning. Like just he doesn't feel right, but you can get some things going and he's going to be strong. Black Panther, yeah, he's probably S. Melee heavy, obviously, but very mobile, very high damage. Decent ult. Nothing really bad to say about him. I think if you're, you know, good enough players, you can focus and kill him, especially if he's not being healed. But at the same time, if he's a good enough Black Panther, you know, he'll get in, maybe fuck somebody up and kill him, and then get out, which is obviously what you're supposed to do. But yeah, I think he probably deserves an S tier minimum. He's dropping down to A, but somewhere in there for sure. Um, and then honestly, McGee. Yeah, she just is not good. She doesn't feel good. She doesn't do enough. I haven't seen, felt, or watched or been a part of anything where she is the issue. I think she's okay, you know, certain situations, certain times she can definitely fuck you up, but overall just yeah, there's just way better choices. Like if I'm picking my team, I hope that for the most part my whole team is these top two rows. I will take some of these people from row B, but after that, like I don't want anybody on my team that's row C. Questionable about row B unless maybe there's a team up or you know there's a certain game mode or map or whatever. Sure, but after that, like I'm taking these top two rows is what I want. But please let me know down in the comments what you guys think, where you guys would place your favorite and least favorite heroes, and hopefully this helps you guys a little bit. And we will see you in the next one, so don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.